far too easy. It was almost men against boys.
Yeah, our biggest ever semi-final win in this competition. It's a funny one, really, isn't it? Because sometimes we talk about the Europa League, obviously as the poor cousin to the Champions League, but you look at this now, Inter against Sevilla in a European final, has a proper big game feel about it on Friday night.
It does, it really, really does. And I think, you know, Seville would have watched that today. You know, I know they're going to be in a game, you know, come Friday. But, you know, as I said before, we was hoping for the two big boys. But don't discount Seville. They're a very good side. You know, the CB's very good in this competition. So it can't be as bad as what we saw today, that's for sure, Jake.
Right, come on then, let's talk about what went on there with Shakhtar. I mean, we spoke in the build-up about this sort of Brazilian core they have, and we were talking about flair and excitement, and what a weird night for them.
Well, they just... Yeah, I think you've got to give credit to Inter in the way that they defended. Antonio Conte, plays a 3-5-2, but that 3 ends up becoming a 5 with a 3 in front, and they just absorb pressure, and they play on the break. When they get it, they play down the channel. I think they're happy to defend. Everybody nowadays wants to play out from the back and play this expansive possession. Conte doesn't do that, you know. And where he goes, he gets results, whether at Juventus or whether at Chelsea. And he did fabulous today. You know, I thought they're one of the best defensive teams in the division. They don't have much possession, but they don't need it if you win 5-0.
I mean, he would have looked at... I mean, we spoke at half-time that it was a pretty dull first 45 minutes, but you both said that at half-time he would have been delighted with the way they played. I mean, that's just Inter doing what he wants them to do.
It is, and you think they are fantastic players, you know, but they know their jobs, they get in a shape. You know, you hear them on the touchline just shouting all the time, demanding orders. And, you know, most players would tell them to shut up, but they seem to take it on board. And if they're going to be successful, then you've got to. So, well done, Conte.
Absolutely. Friday night, make a date in your diary. Inter against Sevilla in the Europa League final right here on BT Sport. Here's another date for your diary as well, actually. We're enjoying being the home of the WWE. How about Trade here in English football? They questioned his first touch, they questioned his pace, they questioned his commitment. I think we got a few answers tonight, didn't we?
Fabulous. Honestly, he played like the ideal centre-forward, and I think obviously he looks sharp. You know, his finishing, obviously, I don't think we've ever questioned. But at 27, he looks like he's in the perfect age. And it just shows you need to find the right fit for you. For whatever reason, it wasn't there. But Lautaro Martinez and him up top, wow, what a pair these two are. They link up, they look for each other, they're unselfish, both good goal scorers. And, I mean, Lautaro Martinez, this guy I love, honestly, could play for anyone. Man City, Barcelona, look at that ball, Incy, just fabulous, isn't it?
Yeah, top. They work so well as a team. But going back to Lukaku, I mean... He looks fit, he looks lean. Talk about when he was at Manchester United, he couldn't get around the park. Here, he's just running past people. I mean, you wouldn't have seen this, you know, at Manchester United. It's pace. To be fair, I always felt I was fitter when I was at Inter, whether it's the climate, the food, all the stuff they give you. You know, because he looks like a different animal. And, you know, we know he can finish. But, wow. I wish I had him now, that's for sure.
And the thing is, he looked confident enough to get that out of his feet and go, didn't he, in that turn of pace. He just... And Conte, that's the thing he demands from all his players. Even if you're a star player, you've got to run. As Incy said, he's on the side, he's telling everybody where to go. And I think Lukaku, he's enjoying that.
One of the challenges, I think, for people watching this that haven't had the career that you two have had is how a player can change clubs, change countries, change a manager and look so different.
I think you're right. It's just you see it in so many players. They come up to England and they don't find their feet, and the system doesn't work, and the pressures of playing for someone like Man United and all the stuff that goes with it. They struggle. I mean, don't get good. Lukaku didn't struggle. He scored goals for Manchester United. Let's just get that right. But I just felt under Mourinho he wasn't happy. You know, that didn't help. You know, we said it with a few players under Mourinho, but he was one of them. And sometimes, as Owen says, you find your fitting, you find the right person, the right country, the right climate, the family's happy. It all fits in, and he's happy. And I think the most important thing, if you're happy, you will perform. If you're not, you won't.
Yeah, happy, confident. I think he got a raw deal for whatever reason at Man United. I think he felt like there was a lot of pressure on him. He felt like he had a point to prove all the time. I remember he did an interview where he said even in his first game, I think it was against Real Madrid, and he said he felt like there was a lot of criticism even though he had scored. And I just feel like he almost played like he was carrying that burden there, whereas now he looks like he's in a place where he's really confident. And I think he deserved a little bit better, but I think now that United have those front three coming through, he's in a good place. You know, they sold him, they got some good money, but he's at 27, he's at a great age. And I think he's playing at a really high level.
And I guess a partnership helps as well. I mean, the numbers here for him and LAUTARO Martinez are unbelievable. 51 goals between them this season. They're the first duo to score 20 or more goals each since Adriano and Obafemi Martins for Inter. That was 15 years ago. That's also a really important part, isn't it, to feel comfortable with the person who's alongside you and you get the best out of it.
Well, when you kind of go back to Everton days, he kind of played up there on his own. He was the big number 9. Same against Manchester United. He was always up there on his own. He never worked with a little big man, small man, so to speak, you know. And he's got that right Conte out there, that they work well together. They're not selfish goal scorers, because you see today, they put people in. If there's someone's in there, put him in. It's not all about their own self-glory. They play as a duo, and that's what makes them so great for me, Owen.
Yeah, I think as a centre forward, you know, you just need somebody that you can link up with, and I think they do that well. Look, let's be honest. Conte and Inter, they're a really defensive team. You know, the back 3, the back 5. So there's a lot of pressure on those two to actually run the channels and bring other people into play. I think Barella did a terrific job of linking that all together. But when you have a front 2 that explosive, that can do so much for you, then I think it takes a lot of pressure off the rest of the team.
It's a lovely photo of that, isn't it? He was brilliant as well this evening. How much do you fancy your old club then in the final?
Got to fancy him. Got to fancy. Listen, it won't be easy. I thought Shaktar Donesk.
You don't write them off when they just won 5-0 in the semis, by the way, do you?
No. I just thought Shaktar Donesk was so poor. You know, really, they started the game so well, and then they kind of, I don't know whether it was stage fright. I don't know. You know,
they had that chance, though, didn't they? They had that brilliant
chance
opportunity.
If that goes in, it changes the game. It changes dynamics. We know that. But this is probably the best chance they had. I mean, we talked about Man United about, you know, 1 player against 4. This is exactly the same thing. If the ball's right and the movement's right, you get a chance. And I couldn't believe he missed it. I mean, I could not believe it.
Maybe it's slightly behind him, but look,
excuse me.
No, I know. Look, Incy, I'm trying to be diplomatic here.
No, don't. Just be to the point. He's got to score.
The thing is, they got one of the best goalkeepers in Handanovic. They got a really strong, best defence in Serie A, a balanced midfield that works hard, and those 2 up top. So we spoke about balance in terms of Bayern Munich, the balance they have in the Champions League. Inter is the best balanced team in the Europa League, and that's why they're favourites.
And we talk about how brilliant their defence is. That was the 8th time this season they've scored 4 or more goals in a game, Inter. So this isn't unusual for them to blow teams away if the conditions are right. The game played. You know, I've watched them a lot in Serie A this year. You know, and they do the same thing all the time. They sit deep. They bring teams onto them. And they leave the spacing for Lukaku and Martinez and Barella and, you know, Brozovic to go and make things happen. And once they get that first goal, then that's it. Then it opens gaps.
We said that, then we had 1-0. We said game over.
Game over.
Yeah. It's game over.
And I mean, what they did that Man United didn't do, they were ruthless. They got their chances and they put them away.
So if you're a Sevilla player and you've been sitting and watching that game tonight, which they probably have been, and you're looking at a rock-solid defence and 2 electric goal scorers at the moment, how on earth do you take them on in the final and get the better of them? How do you plan against a team as well organised and as ruthless as that?
Kick them the ball. Let them have the ball. You know, and let them try and make the game. They don't really want to do that, do they? They want to sit in on the edge of their box and absorb pressure. Sevilla, at times, they were too expansive against United, and they left the 2 centre-backs on their own, Diego Carlos and Koundé. They left them at the back. If they do that against Lukaku and Martinez, they'll lose. But I think let Inter have more of the possession. You know, force Inter to come out. If they sit on their box with Handanovic and that back 5, there's only one winner. And I said before the game, I think defence wins championships. Conte's got the best defence, but this team, I think they're favourites.
And of course, when they got the second one, that was kind of the floodgates moment, really, wasn't it? You saw the Shakhtar heads drop at that point.
Yeah. Look how much he enjoys, like, the little details. I mean, imagine, that's a corner, an average corner whipped in, then Ambrosio heads it in, and he goes mad on the side. I mean, he sweats as much as some of the players, Conte, the way he's kind of up and down the sideline. And I think as a player, as much as it's probably really demanding, it's probably quite infectious that the manager is so involved in the game plan.
Yeah, there's still question marks about his future, you know, whether he's going to be...
Yeah, I know, I heard that, yeah. It was funny because he went to Chelsea, won the Premier League, done so well. I don't know whether players get fed up all that demanding all the time and the training.
It feels like that's what happened at Chelsea.
Yeah, it's happened at Chelsea, so... You know, what happens at Inter Milan, I don't know, but I know there's questions about his future. But he's a serial winner. He wins titles, he wins trophies. Don't get many of them around, shaky boy.
Indeed, he should. Thanks for that.
Welcome, mate.
Incy, lad. Right, so in this final then, do you expect them to do exactly the same thing? You say that Sevilla are going to ask them to sort of have the ball and deal with it that way. Don't you think Inter are just going to come out and do exactly what we saw?
Of course they will. But that's what I mean. You've got to try and throw a different wrinkle in there and surprise Inter. I mean, Conte's always done that at Juventus, at Chelsea. You know, he was exceptional at Chelsea as well, playing the same way. You know, they had a lot of flair players, but they played deep, didn't they? Played on the edge of the box, played with wing-backs, and it's effective. So you can guarantee Sevilla will dominate possession, but I think you can almost guarantee Inter's going to win the game.
I think to fair with Shaktar Donesk, they played into Inter's hands because they tried to go down the middle all the time. It just played into Inter's hands. I think with Seville, they've got to say that one ball today, they played over the top of the block and they got in. So if you can't go through them, you've got to go around them or over the top of them.
But do you think, if you think about Seville, as well as they played, we thought, you know, the front three, Ocampos was poor, wasn't he? Yeah. Al-Nasseri was poor. Suso was a really good player. He was poor. You know, that Inter defence will eat up that front three from Seville. So whether the midfield three, whether it's Ever Banega, somebody like that, they need somebody really special to open that game up. Maybe the fullback, the wing back, the fullbacks.
To do that, you've got to have runners. You've got to have people who are prepared to make unselfish runs to move the Inter block. You didn't see that today, did you?
Navas could do that, couldn't he? Reguilón could do that at left back. But I think if you look at that front three of Seville against that Inter defence, I only see one winner.
Well, that's the pre-match done for the final. We might as well just turn up a couple of minutes before kick-off. I think it might be the three of us again on Friday evening. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will hope to hear from Antonio Conte.